relative cohort size early this week. And this also partly explains why the baby boomers generation have higher crime rates during their late teens and young adulthood than other generations. They have larger cohort size. And the article you are required to read, I think the 2 articles you are required to read for week 5 talk about why baby boomers generation, they commit more crimes during the late teens and young adulthood. They go to prison, and some commit violent crimes, other more serious types of crimes. And because of that, they have long sentences for decades. So they transition from teenage years to young adulthood to middle age, or even to old age in the prison system. They experience aging in the prison system. We briefly been through this, but when people built the prison, they never forethought this. So they never think to have separate facilities, different diet, different nutrition for these prisoners who age out the prison system. They never thought that they maybe should have different shower facilities with rails and whatnot for these prisoners who experience aging in the prison system. And during COVID, there were sayings that there were discussions among policymakers that maybe these older adults who are prisoners should be released early, should be given parole early. After all, we saw the age crime curve. Very few older adults commit crimes. Maybe it's safer to release them back to society. This is what your 2 articles are about. The ones you will be tested in your exam the following week, the 28th. And this is because there are more baby boomers than others. And because of that, they not only experience competition in resources, larger class size, and it's hard to get to certain colleges, not enough capacities to enroll them all. And they face competition when they apply for jobs, swift competition. And aside from that, maybe on average, families are having more kids per family. Because of that, it affects the process of socialization in each family. It affects the process of socialization in each family. Socialization, I think you learned that in Intro to Social, right? It means the process where we learn about the expectations of life. What is required of us? How should we conduct ourselves as responsible citizens? These are all imparted to us through the process of socialization, initially by parents, then by teachers, after that by employers. What's expected of us as work? No surfing the internet, no online shopping in work, no picking our nose during work time, among other things. HR will come after us. Employers continue to be agents of socialization in our adulthood. Then even law enforcement personnel, they socialize us in ways that they tell us about the traffic laws, other laws. what red light means, what yellow light means, what green light means, among other things. And because families have more kids, school have more kids, it affected the process of socialization. Parents cannot give so much attention to all the kids. Attention to the kids during the baby boomers generation are being diminished. And school teachers cannot give equal attention to such a big classroom. It affects socialization in the classroom. And some researchers think that how the process of socialization is affected in the family than in school contributed to some people joining back crowds, committing crimes in their late teens and young adulthoods. More people of this generation committing crimes, joining gangs, because they don't feel they fit in, and teachers did not realize that. Teachers could not intervene. So they thought, oh, gangs give them a sense of belongingness, a sense of sisterhood or brotherhood. They join gangs, they do bad stuff with people in the gang. So socialization was reduced and weakened. Supervision by parents and teachers are also weakened. And levels of social control enforced by parents and then teachers are also weakened because they are a relatively large cohort compared to other generations. That is why now a lot of the prisoners are from the baby boomers generation. You are going to read the article next week. This is because of their larger cohort size, and regardless of cohort, late teens and young adulthoods have higher crime rates, we saw, even from the most recent data. Because of what we call the social control theory. We know, we just saw, late teens, young adulthoods is a period of people finding out their identities, people trying new things, people testing out new avenues and so on. And if they are not careful, they may try the wrong new things. And at this age, people may challenge the supervision or the social control enforced by teachers, parents, or even employers, law enforcement officers. It's more challenging to enforce social control on late teens and young adults, regardless of whether they are baby boomers, Gen X, millennials. Because these people, they want to experiment, they want to try new things. It's hard to control them. And sometimes things may improve when late teens transition into young adults. They graduate high school or they graduate college. They are gainfully employed and they meet somebody, a significant other, a soulmate they like. They want to spend their life with. They desire to have a family. And because of that, social control theory or social control imposed by employers at this stage in their life will have an effect in their life. Once again, they say, I'm going to work hard. I will not be a troublemaker at work. I want to keep my job. I need to feed my families. I love my wife and kids, or I love my spouse and kids. I want to provide well for my family. They will abide by all the rules enforced by employers or law enforcement officers. So we see crime rate decrease after young adulthood because they re-establish their social bonds with different significant others from adulthood until old age. And regardless of the generation, the differential association theory also explains why crime rate peaks in late adolescence and young adulthood and declines after that. Adolescence, in this stage of life, parents have lesser influence in this stage of life, we know, and teachers may have lesser influence or more influence than the parents, but less influence than the peers. Everything is about their peers, right? Late teens and young adulthood, late teens especially, everything is about their peers, their friends. And if they mingle with the right crowd, they may do things with their peers, things that may not get them into trouble, regardless of their generation. And if they mingle with the wrong crowd, they want to distance themselves from their parents. We all been there. And if they mingle with the wrong crowd, they do bad things with that crowd. So this partly explains why we see crime rate peaks in late teens and young adulthood. Who you mingle with. And this is not a class in criminology or criminal justice. So I will go through this fast. So peer association or differential association also explains why we see the age crime curve the way it is, the way it has been for decades, for centuries.